We're actually quite opposite Coles Copy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, 200 men hauled a cannon up there. I think it took them 3 hours, we read. But that Coles Copy is central to all the activity that goes on around this area. And at the moment, we've got to travel 13 kilometres on this dusty, rutted, potholed dirt road to get to a farmhouse where we're looking for Hobkirks Farm and Pink Hill, where Major Eddy lost his life. Arundel, South Africa, February the 17th, 1900. Quote, "You will, I am sure, be rather shocked by the news which must reach you during the next day or two, viz. The deaths of Eddy and Roberts and Powell, all officers, and the big list of casualties among the small number of Victorians engaged in the fight at Hobkirks Farm last Monday. We'd been at the Kluif camp for 4 days, the VR and the New South Wales companies. The VMR were at the windmill, an exposed camp on a plain 4 miles from the Kluif." Farm is mentioned, but depending on which correspondent reported, yeah, they use different names depending on who you asked. Still trying to figure out why they might call this the Battle of Rensburg, but maybe this farmer's wife will know. So we're nearly there now. Once again, stunning landscape. We saw a wildebeest before. We've seen these little mongoosey type things, lots of them running around, and we're seeing anthills with big holes in them, which the aardvark,
Like a little bit of a pulse.
Bastard's neck.
Bastard's neck. I wonder why they call it bastard's neck. Right,
Probably a bastard to get up.
Yeah, in the day, yeah.
The pickets driven in. We were going along quietly and happily in the work of picketing the outposts on the koppies, round which our fellows lay in little sangars, and fired at the Boer snipers opposite them, and about 800 to 1200 yards away, till the morning of the 4th day. Then, about 6 a.m, Major of the Wilts came up from the lower Kluif camp, about a quarter of a mile away, and told Major Eddy, who was in command, that the pickets at Bastard's Neck and at Hobkirks Farm had been driven in, and that we might like to go out at any moment to fight.
Here's the farmer's wife now.
Oh yeah, there's a lady, yeah.
Once again, they got the beautiful white Dutch colonial farmhouse.
Long kitchen. Okay, that must be her there, I'm guessing. Let me park over here. Let me see if that is her. Right, yeah.
The Hobkirks Farm. When we read the account of Major Eddy's death, Hobkirks Farm features prominently. Now, this lady and her partner are moving full-time into this Hobkirks Farm. Her parents owned it. They're elderly now, they're in their 80s. She's driving up to Pretoria today. It's a bloody long way to Pretoria from here. It'd have to be 5 hours. But anyway, her furniture's all coming down, so she doesn't have very long. She's never heard of Major Eddy, but she knows Australians were here.
Lieutenant Chomley's brave party. Quote, "I stopped to speak to a party of Victorian mounted rifles, among them Hennessy and McLean, who were behind some breastworks, and who had been hunted out of the neck. The Boers had swarmed round the little pickets of 14 VMRs under Lieutenant Chomley. The place was an impossible one to hold, and the marvel is that they got away with only 4 or 5 men shot and none actually killed. All apparently had behaved excellently. They gave the Boers plenty of lead and must have shot down a number. All spoke of their officer, Lieutenant Chomley, having behaved excellently and being the last man to leave the position. Our company was directed to go on to the large, low copy beside Hobkirks farm, where Lieutenant Thorne and his small picket of VMRs and a few inner skillings under Lieutenant Johnson had been overwhelmed after pluckily attempting to make a stand. Our men crept up over 2 ridges and found the kopje had been deserted again by the Boers who had retired to the farm, and a tall black kopje only 600 yards from the nearest end of the kopje we were on, and which I shall call Hobkirks kopje. We took possession of the kopje together with a party of inner skillings, and were sniped at from the black kopje whenever we appeared above one of the ridges. Our men soon found Private Wilson of the VMR. He was shot through the brain. The poor boy had died instantly.
This will warm up the house.
Yes.
Are these original floor tiles? The history.
Yeah, like this is like a trough.
Oh, look at these. These details, folks.
Lovely.
The original. So, I love the door, like Mr. Ed had. Hello, I'm Mr. Ed. There he is. Look at that. Is that original? It's fantastic. Oh dear. Oh, look at this, Tony. Look at this. Now you smack your clothes on it and rub. That's your Simpson automatic of the day.
Yeah, people lived in that. Microwave ovens, laptop computers.
Look at that. That's worn down with hard work. Graft. Oh, we're moving on. Look at that. Wow, look at this. Oh my God. Oh, look at the floors are original. That's beautiful. Look at it.
So we just added the bar and
It's so white and so much light coming in, the brightness. Beautiful. Open the porch door to the stoop.
Yeah. Ah. Well, if you're ever looking for a retirement, I've got another 2 more years and I'll retire.
The pool, swimming pool.
And I'll be a gardener, fixer-upper.
so these trees are hundreds of years old.
Ah, grapevines.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, the tree,
The grapevines are definitely more than 100 years old.
Yeah.
These trees were here when the Australians were here. There's lots of mentions of Hobkirks farm in the account of Major Eddy being here.
Yes.
Whether this was their headquarters. Wow.
We had been at the Clwyd camp for 4 days. The Victoria Rifles and the New South Wales companies. The Victoria Mounted Rifles were at the Windmill, an exposed camp on a plain 4 miles from the Clwyd. The latter was held by ourselves, 3 companies of the Wilts and 2 companies of the Burkes. The Clwyd is a most romantic spot and would somewhat remind you of the description in Waverley of the Highland Chief's retreat.
This vine was here when the Australians were here. They were probably pulling down grapes, putting their feet up, eating a bunch of grapes, having a chuckle about the Boers. But if that is Pink Hill, if that's the gap where the Worcesters were caught, like as the Boers said, like sheep in a pen, we were going to slaughter them like sheep in a pen. Then I'm afraid, folks, me and Tony ain't going up there. Valley up there is Pink Hills. Now, surprisingly, or maybe you heard me, but I asked her what Rensburg means to her, and she shook her head. She had no idea what Rensburg is, and I'm vastly confused by that because, yeah, Rensburg is a name given by some to this whole battle. The district is known as Rensburg. Tony keeps trying to sell me the idea that Rensburg was a train siding, and that's probably true. but there's correspondence reporting in the Australian Argus of the day the death of Major Eddy, and they're calling it the Battle of Rensburg.
Lieutenant Thorne of Shepparton, writing to his father, gives the following account of his exciting experiences during the fighting near Rensburg, dated Arundel Camp, February the 16th. Quote, I had charge of the pickets at Hobkirks, and Chomley had the other. About daylight last Saturday morning I heard sounds of firing from the neck and knew that Chomley had been attacked. He was about 3 miles from me. We immediately got on to the alert, and I doubled sentries and had horses got ready. I had one Cossack post about 2 miles from me and one about 1.5 miles, 4 men in each. The one in the gorge was attacked at the same time as Chomley's. I got the other one in time. I got my men away from our post just in time. They had to leave their blankets and greatcoats. When we got out a little, the Boers rained bullets all around us. I had our men well extended, only one horse was hit. As we were getting out of range, I saw 2 of my men running on foot from the gorge post, both wounded. As luck would have it, I had just caught 2 riderless horses which had come from Chomley's post. We got one man named Gamble on one and sent him back. I went up with the other led horse to meet the other poor fellow, and as the firing had ceased, I was going to bandage him. Directly we grouped together. There were 4 of us. Campbell was one. They commenced firing again. We got the man on and cut for it, out of range. There were some very narrow escapes.
I'll close this door. You can smell in unison.
At the time of the war, this is where the kitchen was. Probably Australians drinking coffee in this kitchen.
The restaurant used to be before it was renovated, used to be the kitchen.
Oh,
It's now a bedroom.
nice and airy, beautiful pink, dusty pink, a nod to Pink Hill perhaps.
Yes.
Exactly.
We don't know how we've got the name Pink, you know.
Isn't this cool?
Yeah, in the sunset.
In the heat,
Yes. And
In
then
the-
the room with the coals, the coal room.
in the heat of the day, this is where you want to sit out here. Look at the shade. Coal room.
Used to be the coal room. So we had it closed up, changed into a bath.
A survivor's account. Private Jennings was the only one who escaped from the section under charge of Lieutenant Tremerne, whose stubborn defence saved the Wiltshires from destruction. Private Jennings is a native of Brighton, 18 years of age and the champion shot of his former company, the 2nd Battalion. In a letter to Brighton, he thus describes the fight. Arundel, February the 14th. On Saturday morning, February the 10th, we left Clough Camp near Coles Cop for the purpose of making a copy 6 miles off, with Hobkirks farm at the foot. We advanced under a steady rifle fire from the enemy snipers, reached the copy, dismounted and drove the enemy back. They retired to a large copy 1,000 yards to our right front, where they stayed for reinforcements. Our loss was 2 killed, Sergeant Grant and Private Wilson, and 3 wounded of the Victorian Mounted Rifles. Our attacking force was about 50 rifles, 25 Victorian Mounted Rifles, and 40 of the Wiltshires. The enemy defending the hill numbered about 200. Next day we shelled the enemy's position with lyddite, and sniping went on till dark. Our guns moved to the centre of the veldt in the night, and in the morning opened fire. During the night the Boers had also been busy and had placed a long tom in position on the top of the kopje. They had also received reinforcements, probably about 2,000. They shelled our guns and disabled one at midday, and the other retired. The Boers then shelled our position and compelled us to seek shelter. As soon as we moved, the bullets fell around us like rain. When the shelling slackened, we advanced, but retired at 3 p.m. as we received word that the enemy was advancing on our left front. We were divided into small parties and galloped off to hold the numerous kloofs all along our front and flanked through a distance of 3 miles. We cleared the enemy off our left flank, but being outnumbered could not reap any benefit, and the Boers then swarmed on the right and cut off the New South Wales troops, who'd been sent to reinforce us.
He really knows her decorating, eh? And there's beautiful zebra skin. And yeah, their stuff hasn't arrived yet, Tony. Imagine when all this stuff. I mean, this is very tasteful. This decorating.
It is.
This is not your local.
Got a wooden kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not some scattered stuff, collection of junk. It's all, even the way their cages are all.
Laid it out, yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Bird cages and things. I should have brought my old bird cage.
That's where you keep Tweety in. Wow. This is really tasteful.
Compliment. I'm sure you put a lot of effort.
You're very talented.
We need to change things around a little bit for the wedding. So going to cut the cake exactly here.
And these things are like African. I don't know if they're drums or. I don't think they're drums. They're African though. Show you the kitchen sink. Of course, it turns out the lady, I think her name is Cornell, is an interior designer. Why didn't I guess? Look at the blind. Look how she hangs her tea towels. We throw ours in a dirty old drawer. Cornell knows a little bit. She knows, she's pointing to where the Australians were hiding. Scallywags.
have to go through some. You can go out here
Yeah.
and then just climb through some.
Through there, up to your
fences.
JoJo tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Cornell.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
Safe travels.
Yeah.
And you know, be aware there's some stop goes there by Tom's.
About 3, huh?
Yeah, there's 3.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Tot ziens. Bye bye.
Hallo. Hoe gaat het? Mind your head here, Cherry.
Ja, goeiedag. Morgen. Yeah. Which, you know, Cornell and her father and the map keep referring to as Pink Hill over there. And we've seen enough, well, I've seen enough battlefields to know they're very rarely on a flat, you know, snooker table area. They're always going to be in difficult to get to places. Because you've got one side who want to make it difficult to get to them, and then the other side, in this case the British, go out to get to them and find themselves in a valley being shot down onto, and the Wiltshires get themselves into a stick. Let's then say the Australians have come up that little rocky.
How Major Eddy died. I had previously seen Major Eddy where he made his last stand covering the retirement of the Wilts infantry. He had, apparently, after giving the order, "Retire," finally waited till the men near him were ready to get away, and then, while rising from the recumbent position in which he had been firing, received a bullet through the brain. He could only have moved slightly, and death was practically instantaneous. About 8 or 9 empty cartridge cases were beside him, and 2 men told me he had been shooting well at the enemy as they came up, at least 4 or 5 to 1. Every man in action behaved splendidly that day, none more so than our commanding officer, who died a true soldier's death after a fight in a very difficult position from which he had got out every man possible.
She's saying Australians were hiding over there.
so you cannot trace the certainty.
No. And this is the fun of exploring, and that's where all that white stuff comes from.
Yeah, it's like lying up and
Yeah.
probably in the water. Oh wow, and look again at the stunning view.
Yeah, yeah. So you get to see a karoo.
Yeah, landscape.
Oh, look at that. She sprung a leak. Wonder if she knows.
I wonder.
Sure she does.
Yeah, always like little.
Oh yeah, that's crystal clear, that water. Look at that. Crystal clear.
Take a nice dip in that.
Well, if she doesn't fix that leak, it'll be empty.
Oh.
So, this is the area, folks, where the Aussies were. The Victorian Mounted Rifles. Oh yeah. But then again, Bastard's Neck is mentioned predominantly in the account of the battle, and straight away Cornell's hand went up and pointed at Bastard's Neck over there. A windmill farm is mentioned as being an old campground for the Australians, which was on a flat sort of between Hobkirks and Colesburg. Colesburg's over there. I asked, do you know of an old windmill that's 130 years old? But not really. So. There's a Colesburg Cemetery, military cemetery. There is a civilian cemetery over there somewhere, but Colesburg, an important centre for the British push up to Bloemfontein, and we're going to see that reflected in some of the graves here. And as Tony said, he asked them to clean it up a bit. We don't have the level of vandalism. So they threw all the bottles outside of the cemetery onto the pavement here, as you can see. But oh look, the limb of a child.
From a plastic doll. Yeah.
So we're looking for Major Eddy.
Yeah, I can take it to Major Eddy.
And also, I think it's Captain Roberts or something. He's a Tasmanian. Roland Pitt. I didn't know the Tasmanians were here. And the New South Wales were in the Victorian Mounted Rifles. Here he is. So I'll read to you the account of Lieutenant Roberts.
The death of Lieutenant Roberts. About 12:30, this party of Boers made a dash for the left of our position, and simultaneously the Boers rushed us in front and on the right in large numbers, the snipers and pom-pom keeping up a vigorous fire from the top of their kopje. Just before this rush, Private Hagen, VR, had got a Mauser through both legs from a sniper, and after dressing his wounds, which were not serious, and getting him to the rear, I was told Lieutenant Roberts had been hit on the left. He had been carried just off the ridge where he had been directing his men's fire. I at once recognised the seriousness of his wound, and after hastily dressing him, we tried to carry him to the rear, but the fire became so hot all around our little party that we had to put him in a little donga and get away some 300 yards, where I had my temporary dressing station. The ambulances and bearers had not yet arrived. Several times I had to return to see our men, the most unpleasant position being on the top of the ridge, up which I had to crawl on my chest to see poor Corporal Ross.
Oh, his loving mother back in Australia. Wonder if she ever got to come and see where her son, the African sky, look at the gum trees. That there's Roberts here, Tony. He's mentioned in those dispatches. Wilcox. December 15th, 1900. That's a different action to, yeah, that's Lieutenant Roberts. He's mentioned with Major Eddy. And he's,
so he's got his own grave.
yeah.
Right? Major Eddy's got
And these aren't all one date. These are around those 3 months or so of actions around here.
Dates, yeah.
Skirmishes.
Here's another one, South Australia.
Yeah, look.
Imperial.
Trooper Smith.
Yeah.
You've got to wonder if their parents ever got out here. It was such a long way in those days to get here. Look at that. The Burkes. The Berkshires. New Year's Day of a new century. Lieutenant West just made it into the 1900s. Anyway, this is something we've never seen, that emblem of the sun. The officers who fell, the Canadians, the Tasmanians, we just saw Pitt, Dragoons, Sussexes, Brabant's Horse, remember that episode I did on the memorial? Brabant's Horse, Kitchener's Horse. Here's one of those private.
Yeah, that's right.
Brabants.
Yeah.
Nesbits
as well.
Nesbits I've never heard of, but Brabants we know.
No,
Kitchener's Horse we know.
Yes, I have heard of them. I found Major Eddy's.
Okay, let's go and look at Eddy. These are all British or South African units. We're interested in the Australians. Unless you're along for the ride, then you're enjoying all these names. London Volunteers. Alright, let's go and see Eddy. Tony's hanging out to show me Eddy. I can see him. There he is. There he is. There he is. There's our boy. There's our fella.
There we go.
And big letters.
Yeah.
Deserving of it.
West Australian Mounted Infantry.
Well, Eddy wasn't. Eddy's Victorian.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they got it wrong.
They got it wrong.
Oh, get me the chisel set. Go to the car, get me the freaking chisel set.
Oh,
well, look, they're Roberts, Victorian Mounted Rifles.
Yeah.
How did they put Eddy as a South Australian? That's an outrage.
Oh, man.
Let me get the phone number for the Australian Embassy. And these are the Tasmanians.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
Maybe he was seconded to that regiment, though?
No way. Not at all.
Oh.
But, maybe we're reading it wrong. I don't know. Yeah. Well, there was one memorial I went to, and I noticed there was stuff scrubbed out, and I said, "What's happened there?" They said they spelt it wrong. So the memorial, some joker. Here's a well, even that they spelt New Zealand wrong.
Yeah, that I picked up on it last night. Yeah.
So someone has been given a printout and said, "Go and carve that." They tried their best.
Yeah.
It was the Burkes
Yeah.
that got us into trouble.
Grenadier Guards.
Yeah, that's wrong too. Grenadier.
Yeah.
Wilts. So, you just hold that for a second. You can film me filming Eddy.
Yeah, you are.
Just you don't have to go back too far.
Yeah.
I'll take a photo for my brother.
I can't see anything.
Well, you don't have to.
Oh, okay, so I'm just
It's
pointing.
filming, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
It's idiot proof.
It's appropriate for me. Are you going to do your calling?
No, I've been recording all along.
No, you're calling. You're...
Oh, the cooee.
Yeah.
Cooee! Cooee! The cattle noticed, but the people carry on regardless. So we'll catch these folk. The Hamiltons.
Jewish cemetery.
Ah,
And I'll take you to the Bird Memorial as well.
okay. We don't need to go to the Jewish cemetery, do we?
Sorry?
We don't need to go to the Jewish cemetery.
That is where the Jewish cemetery is.
Here we are, an old dent. He was drowned in the Orange River. And a scullins.
He was drowned in the Orange River. So young, eh?
Well, that's right, he survived bloody Boer cannon fire, rifle fire,
Yeah.
then forgot to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
And that actually, in St Kilda, I did an episode of a young man that died in a drowning accident,
Yeah.
and his memorial is a water fountain.
Ironic. Yeah.
Beautiful. The Royal Sussex. Beautiful. That would be the Prince's plumes. I guess. Oh, look. The wording. Honi soin qua mali.
There you go.
That's the wording we saw yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
The evil shall step back or something.
With the cross.
With the George Cross.
Yeah.
The Garter. Yeah, so
Wow,
that would be their
yeah, that's the
Sussex
regiment.
Regimental.
Yeah.
That's
Give
what.
my love to the regiment.
That's what he's got.
Yeah. Well.
And we'd have to find out, did the Royal Sussexes come to the rescue of the West Australians?
Oh, yeah. Los Angeles, eh?
Yeah, this guy's from America.
Yeah. Who fought with the British.
Oh, that's the first we've seen. I haven't seen any Americans. For some reason, this person gets a brand new headstone. The Royal Wests.
Sergeant, it's a combined. Look, it's 4 men. Corporal, private, and a sergeant.
Looks like they've had a fundraiser and they've managed to get together some bucks and get a brand new
Yeah.
cross.
Because here's the old stone.
Yeah. Jasfontein.
Yes, Fontaine. 1899. Wow. That war only just started and he got killed.
Yeah. Flanagan.
Yeah, an Irishman. Probably.
Cutkop.
Yeah. Actually, Cutkop, wherever that is.
Oh, here's the Imperial Light Horse.
Yeah.
And Lambie. Oh, here's the war correspondent with the
that's
Age. That's my newspaper. I still pay a subscription to the Age.
No way.
I have been reading the Age since 1978. Absolutely love your paper, sir.
Oh.
It's top class, left-leaning socialist
Is it?
propaganda, and I love it.
Oh, there you are. I think you must send that photo to them, to your newspaper.
Yeah.